Hi everyone, it's pasta day and we're going to make Cajun shrimp pasta. I can't wait. Sounds pretty yummy. It's got pasta, it's got shrimp. So let's make it right now. Okay, let's make our pasta, some water, a little bit of salt. We'll get it up to a boil. Shrimp, I've got just under a pound of shrimp. Kind of large size, but it's got tails on it, and I know it looks good in pictures and that, but I really don't want the tails on it, so off they go. The shrimp's big enough. Once I get the tails off, I'm going to give it a rinse, and then we're going to cut each of the shrimp in half. Our water's up to a boil. I'm going to take our fettuccine noodles, which is what we're using. I'm going to break them in half, just because I don't like fighting with the long noodles, that's all. Half I find is just about right. You can still twirl it, but it's not like ginormous. So we're going to kind of mix it around because obviously it wasn't at a rapid boil when I threw these in, and I really don't want the pasta sticking together in one big clump. Ugh. Lid back on, we'll let that cook for a few minutes. And when it's done, we'll stir, and that looks pretty close. I like it al dente. If you like it overcooked, cook it that way. Anyway, I'm going to save some of the pasta water once I figure out how to put the measuring cup in. Well, we're just going to have 3 hands, and we're just going to dump what we can into the measuring cup. I need about a half a cup, but I'm going to get a full cup just in case. Then we can just drain the rest of the water. Give it a rinse. I don't really want it cooking. Put a little bit of olive oil in it. And this is optional too. Just so that it doesn't stick. But I don't know. The jury's out on whether I like doing that or not. And we're going to let it sit for a bit. Now in a small pot we've got some butter. And we're slowly going to let it melt down. It's about 2 tablespoons of butter. And once we get it melted, oh, did I mention I fine chopped a half an onion? Well, I did. That's what's going in first. And we're going to mix it around. Cover up the onions with the butter. Looks good. And we're going to let that cook down for a bit. I'm also going to throw some garlic in, of course. I've got a garlic press now, too. 4 cloves of garlic. We'll just carefully get that through. I'm kind of remembering why I used to always cut them. Because there is a little bit of waste with this. For whatever reason. Some of the outside of the garlic just doesn't mince properly. Plus it can be a pain just to clean up. So either use the jar stuff if you don't want to make a mess, or chop it up by hand too. That also works. They're looking good. Alright. To this, it's a good tablespoon of seasoning, Cajun seasoning. It's actually Old Bay seasoning. And we'll mix all that together. Looks good. Now this is a half of the pasta water we saved. Just a half a cup. And that's going to loosen it up a little bit. And to this, a cup of heavy cream. Little by little. There we go. Now it looks pretty runny for a pasta sauce. Oh, don't worry, we're going to thicken it up in a bit. because we're adding Parmesan. About a half a cup-ish. And that's going to help thicken it up. And we're going to let it melt down into the pan. And I think that's looking pretty good. Our last ingredient is the shrimp. Now, I don't know if you can tell, I actually cut the pieces of shrimp in half. They were pretty big pieces. And this worked out fine. Look at how nice that looks. About a half a teaspoon of pepper I'm throwing in because I still want a bit of a kick. And this was not as hot as I thought it was going to be. So this is the pan that we had our pasta in. We're going to dump it back in. This is why waste another pan. And you can see it's still clumpy even though I had some oil in it and cooled it down, but that's okay. In goes our pasta sauce. We'll get all the cheese in. Yummo. And now we just got to mix it around. It sure does smell good. And this is a real quick meal to make. You know, when you just want to have some pasta that's a little different. So we got to taste it. I think it tastes fantastic. I threw a little more Cajun spice on top. And there you go. Cajun shrimp pasta. Yummy. Hey, another great recipe. I hope you'll give it a try. Leave me a comment below, one way or the other. Listen, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell because that'll tell you the next time I upload a video. Feel free to share this and any of my other videos. And thanks for stopping by and watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.